Hello and welcome everybody back to a wonderful YouTube video. We are here at the Jank Tour. My name is Sam and we are bringing you once again some midweek magic, this time Phantom Bot Draft. This is a great opportunity for a whole bunch of people that are trying to get better at Limited. This is a thing that we do a lot on the channel in a controlled and safe way. Normally, I can understand that if you're trying to play Limited a lot on your main account or things like that, it's going to cost you a lot of gems, it's going to cost you a lot of coins, and your rewards are really only worth it if you can get 4 or 5 wins before you get your 3 losses. And having opportunities like this one, where we're going to be drafting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles today, where you still only get rewards if you get your 3 wins, but there's no downside to losing, is a great way to exercise a lot of the key principles that come to being better at Limited. Card evaluation, prioritization of bombs and removal and threats, and then building together a deck that is cohesive and able to do the things that you want it to do, without having the inherent negative downside of if you build a bad deck and 0-3 scrub out, it's not going to be great. Because of this is Phantom, you are of course not going to be able to keep any of the cards, but it's still going to be very helpful to just go over a lot of those principles and a lot of those things. A lot of the drafting that I do in my own life comes from looking at tier lists or looking at card files and just identifying what I think are the best cards and looking at that, and I'll talk through a lot of my decisions. Since I've been doing a lot more drafting on Arena, a lot of that has now come down to I use a lot of the free plugins that you can make. One of the ones that I use most is Arena Tutor by DraftSim. They have a free plugin for your Arena that helps you see what your best card is in each individual pack. And it doesn't give you much context, and so I will help to, hopefully in this, give you a walkthrough of the deck as we draft it, and then my understanding of what I would think the best card is, a look at what DraftSim says the best card is, and some context into why that decision is being made. With all that being said, please like, subscribe if you like the content. It means a lot. It is how we are able to keep the lights on here, is by your support, and we're just continuing to grow. Our subscriber count continues going up, and I'm loving all of that energy. But I'm also seeing that some of the last videos that have been performing haven't been performing well, and maybe you don't like that. If you have a particular type of content you would like me to be making, or if you're not enjoying how we're doing the Phantom Bot Drafts, please leave me a comment. Let me know. I listen and I respond to every single comment, and they do genuinely influence the type of content that I make going forward. All that being said, let's jump on into the draft, shall we? As I said, here's this draft sim. We're going to pull it off to the side, though, so that I can look at the pack. Okay, so jumping right into this. Once again, we are drafting TMNT. There are only 5 archetypes in this set. The best one, in my opinion, is blue-red. All in all, this is not a very good pack. If I were looking at this pack on my own, what we immediately notice is that we've got 3 different land cyclers, 2 of the same land cycler in Stockman Mad Flyintus, which is a 5 mana, 3/4 flyer. When it enters, you draw a card and discard a card, and then you can island cycle him for 2. Jenica Bad Apple Big Sister is a much better one of the land cyclers. As far as land cyclers go, all of them are very, very good. As for our best archetypes in the set, we have a uncommon artifact for the blue-red artifacts. This doesn't necessarily go in blue-red artifacts, other than it is red and an artifact. But doesn't necessarily hit any of the synergies. We've got one of the best commons for the Red-White Alliance deck. We have another one of the best uncommons for the Red-White Alliance deck in Mighty Mute Animals. And then Splinter's Technique is really just kind of a bait rare. It's not a very good thing for us to get. And then if we're going to go into blue-black ninjas anyways, we already have better ninjas like Splinter Yamato Hoshi, which is a ninja lord, and Orokusaki Shredder Rising, which is just another ninja. All that to say, I would definitely, in this one, if I were trying to make it the best, I would take either one of our land cyclers here, or probably just this Spicy Oatmeal's Pizza. It is a pretty good removal spell, and it goes into the best archetype if you can get the best archetype. The recommendation from DraftSim is to pick Mighty Mutanimals. how these bot drafts work is these are bots that are fed based off of the draft results of other bot drafts on MTG Arena, as well as every in-person draft that is done on MTG Online, because those are data sets that they're able to grab and then be able to put into a place where that it can feed what our bots there of like what is the highest priority, what is getting picked. What that probably means is that that's the same data set that is being used in our draft sims, and what it says to me is that the white-red deck is probably not as contested as several of the other decks. That being said, this pack overall is very bad. There's nothing really bomby here. There's only one removal spell, which is why it's pretty high in my estimation. But it does have a lot of other options here. If like you can get into the Ninjas deck, this is the best uncommon for the Ninjas deck, in that it just makes all of your other Ninjas better. That is worth, picking. This is probably the best uncommon, best common, and your land cycler for the red-white deck, though. And the red-white deck is probably not very contested, so you could probably make a pretty good version of red-white deck, whereas if you're trying to make the blue-red deck, that's for sure the best deck, and unless you're opening really, really good cards, it's going to be pretty contested and pretty hard to do. With that, I'm going to agree with the draft sim, and we're going to take this Mighty Mutanimals. It's just a 4-mana 2/1 that enters with another 2/2, and then you could put a counter on any creature. So it itself can become a 3/2, or you can put a counter on any of your other creatures. It just does everything you want the Alliance deck to do. Now, when we get to our next pack here, we get Rock Soldiers, which is a good thing for the blue-red. You've got Mauser Mark III, which is only good in blue-red. We have another rare that's just not good. Donatello here is also good if you're playing the Artifacts deck. We could still pivot into the Artifacts deck if we wanted to. At this point, there's nothing in this pack for our red-white deck. We could take Casey Jones. Casey Jones kind of goes in any of the red decks, but this sets up way better for if you could get a lot of good artifacts. This goes into the red-blue. This goes into the artifacts. Either way, I think that best card in this pack is Casey Jones, and it's not really that close. And Draft Sim agrees with me. The closest thing is Donatello. They put this as a 2.9 and this is a 2.8. Either way, both of these have been very bad packs. We'll take Casey Jones. It goes with our first pick. We can also pivot if we need to. And now it looks like we should probably pivot. We have gotten General Trag, Heart of Stone. This is a great uncommon for the Artifact deck, which means that Artifact priority has gone up a lot. We do have one of the best removal spells in this format in Anchovy and Banana Pizza in this pack. Nova Nunchaku is also a great pickup, but General Trag, just 5 mana, 4/3 trample. When it enters, sack any of your other artifacts. It deals 4 damage to target creature. It's a removal spell. It's a finisher. It goes into there, and with that, we're probably going to try and do blue-red artifacts and make it happen. Mechanized Ninja Cavalry is a really good pickup for that. Leonardo Big Brother, also very good if we're going to go with the go-wide strategies. Dimension X, also good if we're going with red-white. April O'Neil's good. Mouser Attack's good. They actually put in our draft sim recommendation Mechanized Ninja Cavalry as the worst thing to do. But it is an artifact that makes another artifact, and that's just very good. And if we're especially trying to make it so that we can get into blue-red, we want to get more options. This also goes into a red-white strategy if we end up having to be the red-white strategy. And so I think we take this Ninja Cavalry. Okay, now we have Rock Soldiers, Hardwin Jite, Quintessential Katana, Escape Tunnel. The only thing here that I'm even considering is Rock Soldiers. It's an artifact and it's in red. It goes in either of our colors in either of our decks at this point. Next closest is probably the Jite, the Tunnel, or Jenica. This is another one that Draft Sim agrees with me on. Now here, I'm looking at Ultron Scientists. It's just kind of like this set's version of a Man at War. Rock Soldiers number 2 is also not bad. It just ETBs and destroys things, which is very good, and it's also just a 4-mana 4/3. That is also just fine. consideration that is suggested by Draft Sim is the second best card in this pack, they say, is Raphael Tough Turtle. I don't hate that. Whenever another creature enters, it deals 1 damage to our opponent. Pingers are always good, especially if we go into the red-white. We haven't seen really any of the other red-white payoffs. But we also aren't seeing a lot of the blue artifacts, which makes me think that at this point, I think, honestly, the Raphael. Cool but Rude is a very big one. This is a great rare. This is a great rare specifically if you are trying to play around the discard strategies. We aren't. And because we don't get to keep it, we just need to look at what's better for our thing. We have TCRI building, which is really good if we want to go into blue-red, just because it's now a blue-red dual land. But we also have Neutrinos, and Neutrinos is one of the best uncommons for the Alliance deck. And at this point, I think we just have to kind of settle into the fact that we need to be the Alliance deck, which means we can bring our Mutanimals back in. If we are going to be that, we can be null group biological assets. It is just a way to draw cards and do things like that. It's also at 3 on our curve, which currently is empty, and I'd rather have that, I think, than a 4 again. So we will just grab that to make our curve better. Here, now we are back to our opening pack. This is the pack that we opened, and because of this, we now get to see we either have Mutant Town Musicians, which is trample 2/4 Alliance, and it gets just bigger whenever we trigger our Alliance, which we're trying to do a return, or EPF Point Squad. These are about 6s. We currently don't look like we're going to be able to make any more than one other than Mighty Mutanimals land, like, creature per turn, which leads me towards Town Musicians being better. Point Squad would be better if we had something that was making like 1 million guys all at once, but we don't have that. With this, we can take the Rock Soldiers. Once again, it's still just a good card. Here, it's Mouser Attack. It's pretty good modal. It either makes a 1/1 or it just gives a creature +3/+0 and first strike, which can help us push through damage. 2 of them is more than we probably will ever play. East Wind Avatar, here we go, and then Putrid Pals. Now we're on to Pack 2. And in Pack 2, we opened one of the biggest bombs in the format, Krang Utram Warlord. This is a 9-mana 9/9 with Flying, Trample, Indestructible, and Haste. Other artifact creatures you control also have Flying, Trample, Indestructible, and Haste. And we have 3 currently, 4, 5 artifact creatures. Yes, it is 9 mana. 9 mana is hard to get through. This is still the best card in this pack. Other ideas would be Last Ronin's Technique. Bot Bashing Time is really good. It's a very good removal spell in our colors. Zog is good just to help us get the lands we want. But this is one of the best cards in the set. We will have to find a way to play it. Here, Mouser Foundry is really good. It's a removal spell. It is a whole bunch of artifact creatures. It goes well with our General Trag. The recommendation here is to just take a second General Trag, which I don't hate either. But we already have our first General Trag, and I'd like our first Mouser Foundry over our second General Trag. Now, we do have one of the best uncommons for the blue-red artifact deck now. Baxter Stockman is very, very good, but we are so far out of being the blue-red deck at this point that we aren't even looking at that, and we just need to look at other things we have. We have our Bomb. We have Krang. It's our win condition. We have a little bit of a synergy going in our alliance around the Neutrinos. What we don't have is removal, and Manhole Missile is one of the best commons in the set for that, and because of that, we're just going to take it. It's a 2-mana, deal 3 to any creature, and then put a card from your hand on the bottom of your library. If you do, you draw a card. Just a great effect. Here, they want us to take another Casey Jones. Currently, our first Casey Jones can only hit 1 artifact, so I'm not actually really inclined to take that. But we now get 2 options at Leonardo Big Brother, who we passed on earlier. And I do think that Leonardo Big Brother is good enough to have one of, especially if we are going to be going wide, which is what our deck wants to be doing. He just gets really big for each creature we control, and we can use his sneak to bounce things like our Mighty Mutanimals, or something else that has an ETB ability to just refresh it and hit for a really big amount. And so having our first copy of Leonardo is not bad. Okay, now looking at this, We have General Trag number 2. We have Purple Dragon Punks, which is a 2-mana 2/2. But we can only... that taps for mana, but you can only do that to cast artifacts or activate abilities, which we don't have any artifacts or abilities to do. Grounded for Life is a removal spell that's not bad. Jenica is also good. Jenica is our second thing that is a creature that enters with 2 bodies. I think we need removal more than we need a Jenica, though, and we're more likely to see a Jenica. So I'm going to take Grounded for Life here. Bot Bashing Time, Mouser Foundry, and Dimension X, all very big picks here. I think Dimension X just because we then have mana fixing. Here we can take our second Raphael. Mutant Town Musicians, also fine. It's just a 3-drop and 2-drops. We want to be aggressive. Bot Bashing Time, great removal spell. Zog, great just to find us our basic mountains, and also it's a good creature. Turtle Blimp, I think, is better than Mouser Attack 3. Mouser Attack is pretty high, but Turtle Blimp is just a playable card. When it enters, it makes a mutant, which is great for us. Our mutant can crew it. It's a 3/4 flyer. Turtle Blimp is just good. Now we take our Town Musicians. Then another biological asset. Purple Dragon Punks. And then Buzzbots can go in the sideboard. Okay, and now we get Leader's Talent. It's another rare, another enchantment class. This one specifically is whenever you attack, you put a counter on target attacking creature. If you level it up to level 2, whenever a creature leaves the battlefield, if it had a counter on it, you gain 2 life. And level 3, whenever you cast a spell, put a counter on each creature you control. This is another win condition. This will, if we play it well enough and we know what we're doing, win us the game. This is our second rare in our deck, and it is a win condition just like Ultron. After that, we have a couple of options in this pack. Raphael is good, but we already have 2, so I'm really not incentivized to take that. Foot Elite is good. Like, it's a better common than you think it is. April O'Neil is one of the best commons in white. It's a 2-mana 2/2. When it enters, scry 2, and it can't be blocked by creatures with power 3 or greater, so it's always going to get through. And if you start putting counters on it, especially now that we have a Leader's Talent, it's just going to be good. Honorable mention, Henchbots. 4-mana 2/3 O-Ring is just fine, but we'll take this April O'Neil. Raphael's Technique, another interesting rare, not a good rare. We don't really want to ever pay 6 for this effect, and we're never going to sneak this effect. But we have another Grounded for Life, and we'll take more removal spells. More removal spells, always good. Here, we've got a couple of options. We've got Grounded for Life, Leonardo Big Brother, General Trag. We already have 2 Grounded for Life. We only have 1 General Trag and 1 Leonardo. I think this time we will take our second General Trag. Here, the Everything Pizza is good. Just ETB, get a basic, put into our hand and shuffle, but also because we now have 2 General Trags, this is just, it sits on the battlefield until we play our General Trag, and then we can sack it to blow up one of our opponent's creatures. Here, there's literally nothing we want from this pack. And when you have nothing you want, general rule of thumb, just take the highest rarity card in the pack. Here, we have another Dimension X. We have Nobody, which is also good. Especially now that we have an Everything Pizza, so we could play an Everything Pizza, bounce it with Nobody, scry 1, replay our Everything Pizza. But it is kind of even on whether you want Nobody or the Dimension X. We don't have enough things to trigger our Nobody that I think I would rather just have a Dimension X to have just better mana. And now we're paid off for it in that now, because we didn't take that first Nobody, we really don't want another Raphael, so we can just take this Nobody. Here, Mouser Mark III is the only thing in our colors. Here, all of this is bad, so we'll just take the Crustacean Commando. Same thing, we'll just take the Cowabunga. We could take Bebop, it Swamp Cycles, we're not going to play it. Mouser Attack is at least in our colors. I don't think we're going to play 3 Mouser Attacks. And then Plains, hey, it's a Plains. And now it is to build a deck. Generally, when I'm looking at decks, specifically in Limited, there's a couple of things you take into account. One, Arena has a lot of things to try and help you hit your land drops and get a general one or land drops. So mathematically speaking, in Limited decks, it is correct to usually run 17 lands. On Arena specifically, you can get away with running 16. And then you generally want to look at your curve and make sure you have a good mix of creatures and spells. So if we look at it right now, we have 21 creatures, 11 non-creatures. We want to bring that down overall by 9, I think is our goal here. 8 creatures, and so 8 total cards. So we're going to want to cut 8 total cards. I would probably say we want to cut 5 creatures, 2 spells, or maybe 4 and 3. And I think that there are some pretty easy cuts. If you are doing what I have been doing recently and you are playing with the suggestion with the Arena Tutor, it will give you a suggestion for their deck. The deck that they suggest would have us cut. It would have us leave in here. We would just do these. I would cut all of this. And then I would bring in Krang, Leader's Talent, Casey Jones, General Trang, we would bring in both copies. Mighty Mute Animals, we'd bring in our first copy. Then it's Leonardo, Manhole Missile, Neutrinos, Rock Soldiers, we'd bring in both copies. April O'Neil, we'd bring Nobody as a 3-mana 3/2 would make the cut. Mechanized Ninja Cavalry makes the cut. Eastwind Avatar, both Raphaels, both Null Group Biological Assets, Zog, 1 Bot Bashing Time, 1 Grounded for Life, and the Mouser Foundry. And then they would have 6 plains and 11 mountains and no Dimension X. I would rather do 6, 8, 2 Dimension X and include our second Grounded for Life. Just more removal is generally better. We aren't playing our Turtle Blimp, which I think would also be an okay include. Mutant Town Musicians we ended up not playing, but I do think that was kind of the worst ones of ours. Everything Pizza and Mouser Mark III are also not good. But all in all, I think this gets us to a pretty good deck. And with that, I'll be back when we have our first game. We are back, playing against Cartheron Crust, the Festive Fighter. So already, don't love this hand. Main reason is we have 3 mountains and 2 white spells. But if we can draw one of our plains, this is good. Our Mouser Foundry's pretty good on 2 anyways. All in all, this isn't the worst. We would like better, but like it's not bad enough that we need to mulligan it. So we'll keep this. Because like it has things we can do. It has lands, it has spells. That's also a huge draw, just being able to get our Manhole Missile. Manhole Missile lets us put one of our white spells back as well to draw a different creature if we need to, or to draw a different card. It also really helps with this Genghis Frog. Oh, drawing a plains is also nice. I think we are going to Manhole Missile, kill the Genghis Frog. We'll put the April O'Neil away. And drawing the Neutrinos is huge. We aren't going to play the Neutrinos next turn, but well, actually we might, and then we'll play the Rock Soldiers afterwards. Especially if our opponent's going to make just a plethora of mutagen tokens. Neutrinos is good. The rock soldiers we're eventually going to put in just because we want to blow up our opponent's artifacts, but also it's a repeatable effect that we can have. Although if they use their mutagen right now on their zoo escapees, I mean, I think we're fine with that because it's a 3/3 and we have a 2/4. They have another pump spell, which they did. Now it is worth it to us to just play our Raphael, kill the zoo escapees, and then we can just attack. At this point, Eastwind Avatar or Rock Soldiers are good. It will just depend on what our opponent does. We'll play the Rock Soldiers. You can blow up their mutagen. This Primordial Pachyderm is going to be an issue, though. 4/4 with Reach and Trample. We can trade our Rock Soldiers for it. Ooh, or we can just do this. We can play General Trag. And honestly, I want to keep our Mouser Foundry around, so we're probably going to just sack our robot. And then deal 4 damage to this Pachyderm. Surveillance Cam is annoying. Just draw 2 cards, tap my Rock Soldiers, and then tap my Raphael. But we were able to get rid of the big 4/4, which was an issue. Now we can play the Eastwind Avatar. Okay, Ragamuffin Raptor is a really good card. They're going to be able to pick up their 4/4 again off of this. Zog Triceratron Castaway is not bad, but while we still can, I think I'd rather just push damage. Especially if they're going to play this 4/4 and gain 2 life next turn. I'd rather turn in that artifact to get them down to 9, and then if they just spend their entire turn casting this 4/4. Okay, 4/4 and a 1/3 is fine, because we can now Zog, make it so their Pachyderm can't block, and then attack. And this will take him down to 1. And so unless they can play a whole bunch of... Well, unless they can gain life this turn, they are dead now to the Eastwind Avatar in our hand and our Raphael Tough Turtle on the battlefield. Because we can just play a creature and they take 1 life off of Raphael's Alliance. Take 1 damage. And we're at 20, so like we are very much ahead. We were the aggro this game. We read our line. We did exactly what our deck wanted to do. And our opponents held the writing on the wall, so that's our first win. There we go. Great victory for us. Fantastic. With that, let's look at our reward, and then we'll come back for game 2. And our reward is... a drum roll, please. A mythic! It's a free mythic! Already huge! Massive! Bad mythic. It's double down. This is a 4-mana enchantment for 3 and a blue. Whenever you cast an outlaw spell, copy that spell. Now, is there probably decks that exist that would love this? Probably. Most often, though, this is just a dead card. But it's a mythic that we already have in our collection, and if we ever get it again later, it helps working towards us ultimately being able to get more mythic wildcards and fill our vault. And we'll take what we can get. We are back with another game against Ryanarius the Virtuous. This is a pretty good one. We're just going to keep this. We're going to go aggro. Draw white source. This deck becomes amazing. Drawing our Krang, less amazing, but still pretty good. Casey Jones, time to get in. Can you find us an artifact, Casey? You did. You found us one of the better artifacts in our deck. Mouser Foundry. We'll take that. We'd like to find a white source off the top. We didn't. So we'll just play our Mouser Foundry. Now, most importantly, we don't want to miss land number 4. But we also now have a perfect target for our Manhole Missile to put our Krang back into our deck to draw a card. Our opponent has hit 4 mana. They have played a Buzzbot. This feels bad, but we will have to just do this because we really, once again, cannot miss our 4th land. And we didn't. Let's play Raphael. You can attack for 3. Next turn, we can either bot bashing time if they play something big that we need to care about, or we can April O'Neil into Mechanized Ninja Cavalry and just deal 3 damage. Excuse me. Okay, our opponent plays their own Mechanized Ninja Cavalry. Let's play April O'Neil. We can scry 2. Would like to see a land. No land. So we'll just bottom both of those. Play our own Mechanized Ninja Cavalry. Nobody allowing us to bounce either our Ninja Cavalry or our Mouser Foundry is actually kind of dope. Our opponent has a counterspell, though. Interesting. I will attack with our Raphael. Either way, my opponent's now at 11. Donatello is annoying, but not game-ending. Donatello can also never block our April, so that's nice. You can use your mutagen on one of your creatures. Because if you do, I will block. That's on your Donatello? Okay, then no, we don't care. Okay, that's land number 5. Let's play the Nobody and bounce our Mouser Foundry. Scry 1, Dimension X. Honestly, I'm fine with Dimension X. We've got a good hand. could play this Mouser Foundry again. Our opponent's at 8. We've got a Grounded for Life, we've got a Bot Bashing Time. This Ray Fillet enters. They want to make him a 4/4 flyer, they can do so. We'll just Bot Bashing Time it. Honestly, we might just use our mana most effectively and Mouser Foundry Ray Fillet and deal 1 damage to our opponent. Now, the annoying thing about our current situation is that they do have a Mouser Foundry of their own, which means that they will be able to blow up our Raphael, which is how we are currently killing them. But also, how much damage could we get in with if we attacked this turn? They can only block 4 things. They would block here, 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 and take... Gets them down to 3? And depending how they block, they can't kill everything? So they take 4, go down to 3. If they Mouser Foundry blow up our Raphael, that's going to be rough, but it's not undoable. And it also takes 5 of their 7 mana. And they can't get their Donatello out of Bot Bashing Time range. Which means even if they make only 1 blocker... Okay, so they make 3 blockers with this. If they use this and then Mouser Foundry or Raphael. Okay. I think we just Bot Bashing Time. Attack with everything. And then we sneak in Leonardo Big Brother for the win. Since they can not block 1 of them. It kills our token, but this makes him a 4/3. Until state-based actions and our opponent loses, and that's how you win. There we go. We go wide. We identify when we can turn the corner and when we can sneak in damage. Maximize damage, maximize profits. And with that, we get our second reward. What is it going to be? It's another mythic! This is an incredible thing. Oh my goodness. We got our second reward from the Midweek Metagame, and for our second reward in a row, it has been a free mythic. And it is, drumroll please, Railway Brawler. This is like an actually good card. It doesn't see a lot of play right now, but it's a very, very powerful effect. So Railway Brawler is a 5 mana 5/5 for 3 green from Outlaws of Thunder Junction. It has Reach and Trample, and whenever another creature you control enters, you put X +1/+1 counters on that creature, where X is that creature's power. And you can also plot this for 3 and a green, which means you can pay 3 and a green, exile this card, and then on another turn, you can play it for free. This is an incredible pickup. Like I said, nothing's really playing this, but it can go in a lot of Brawl decks, it can go in a lot of Commander decks. This is a very, very powerful card on rate. It's just a statement and a testament to the state of Standard right now, that this just isn't a powerful enough card for Standard, but it is still an amazing pickup. And more importantly, it's a mythic that we don't have to spend a wild card on. Cool. With that, we'll be back with our third and final game. Here we are with our last game against Kurokia, the Standard Bearer. Their Leo makes me think that they might really enjoy this format. So this is interesting. I love this hand because it has Leader's Talent and the ability to cast it. What I don't love about this hand is that we can't do anything else, and we have our Krang, but I'm willing to risk it, because Leader's Talent is just that good. And if we can draw a mountain, perfect. We just kind of never want to draw anything other than lands at this point. and we're going to just play this Raphael. And honestly, we kind of hope that our opponent doesn't just kill it. Our opponent has cycled away the Zog Triceraton Castaway, which we'll take. It's not them killing my Raphael immediately. And that's also not them killing my Raphael. So then we can play Dimension X, take a turn off. It's fine. We'll play our Leader's Talent now. And we can attack with our Raphael, and when we do, it becomes a 2/4. If they want to block with their Insectite Exterminator, they can. I wouldn't recommend doing so if I were our opponent. And the next turn we can play our Mighty Mutanimals. And start making some real big creatures. Attack for 3. Oh, our opponent's seen enough. Our opponent saw that we had a really good rare and we had a really good synergy, and they decided that that was good enough, which is great because this video is already probably long enough. But with that, we get to our final reward for the day, and then we will get to our final wrap-up and thoughts. Let us see what our reward is. It is, honestly, a Mighty Mutanimals. We don't actually own this card on our account, but it was one of the all-stars from this, and it seems very serendipitous that one of the best cards in our deck from this draft is the reward that we get at the end of it. And that has been a lot of fun. With that, we can transition back to final thoughts. Now, I hope you learned some things, and it was at least a little bit helpful. Draft is my preferred way to play Magic the Gathering, and I've spent a lot of time thinking about it and trying to figure out what the best state is to try and get yourself from where you are to where you want to be. I do believe that Limited is the great equalizer as far as skill and elements and just availability goes. Anyone can become good at draft as long as you just know enough about the cards, you know enough about what you're looking for, and you are drafting with a purpose. You have an idea of what your deck is going to be, how it's going to fulfill that function, and you're pulling in the pieces that you need. For us, we identified very early on that we were going to be the Alliance deck, from literally our very first pick, which was our Mutanimals, which ended up being the last card we played in the video. It's really fun how we kind of bookended all of that. That being said, what we then identified as we drifted is we were getting in a lot of cards that had Alliance and were making multiple bodies and that could bounce creatures, so you had multiple creatures enter at the same time to just kind of get your best synergy there. But we then identified maybe we didn't have enough removal, so we started drafting removal spells. We started drafting just things to go together, and then ultimately we got our big bombs. We had our Krang that we never got to play, but he was kind of the spiritual leader of the deck, and then we got our Leader's Talent, which was definitely the thing that won us Game 3, because it is just a very, very busted rare, and genuinely something that you could play around in multiple formats. All that to say, I love Limited. Admittedly, this particular metagame is hit or miss. I'm not a really big fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Limited. I've played a lot of it over here on the account as we've been trying to play the new account challenge. I think as far as limited formats go, it leaves a lot to be desired. But I do think that if you want to get better at Limited, this event is fantastic. And they should keep doing events like this because it gives you a very safe, easy way to try and master the skills, learn what you want to do, and you don't lose a whole bunch of resources trying to do so, whether that's gems, whether that's coins. The arena economy is bad enough as it is. This is a really safe way to just get your free rewards, learn and develop a new skill, and to try new things. For my recommendations, I once again would recommend try and find a way to play blue-red. If you can't, there's a lot of just really good cards in green. Green is a very good card in this, a very good color in this set. Or if you want to try and do what we did, our deck only really worked because we had as good of a synergy as we did, and we needed to be very aggressive. If someone started getting over the top or they started getting bigger than us, we then kind of very quickly fell apart. But all in all, I hope you enjoy. I hope, once again, this was helpful for you. If it isn't, leave me a comment. Let me know what you like, what you don't like, how I can improve. I'm making these videos for my own satisfaction, but also for you. And if they're not helpful for you, let me know, and I'll try something else. But until next time, I have been Sam. This has been the Jank Drawer. Thank you for coming. Take care of yourself, take care of each other, and I'll see you in the next video.